Well, it's Easter week, and I want to take a look at one of the things Jesus calls himself, one of the names that Jesus calls himself. He calls himself, I am. We're going to make a few stops and kind of look at what's behind this statement when Jesus says to the Jews that he's talking to, I am. So our first stop, I want to go all the way back and show you where this statement comes from. We're going to Exodus 3. Moses has been a shepherd in the wilderness. He's going towards Mount Sinai, sees the burning bush, standing on holy ground, takes off the sandals. God said, hey, I'm going to send you to rescue my people. I've heard them. You're going to go. And he says, man, who am I that I should go? God says, when you go, I will be with you. And Moses says, okay, how are the people going to know that you sent me? And God gives the name, I am who I am. When you go to the people of Israel, when you go to the elders of Israel, go and tell them, I am has sent me to you. This is the given name that God gives himself. So people will say a lot of things about God, about who he is, what he does, and things like that. What's really important is, who does God say he is? So when God says, I am, he is self-existent, right? He's before anything else. He exists entirely upon his own self. Like, he's not dependent on anything else. There's a lot you can say about this name. So, okay, let's fast forward. And a much, much later time, you have holy ground again. So Jesus is standing in the temple. He's standing in front of the people of Israel. And the temple is holy ground. This is the place where it would have just been, throughout the year, people would be coming and they'd be just doing sacrifices. And it was really the central hub of religious life. And it's what everyone was looking to for the future of that nation. It was holy ground in a lot of ways, but it was ultimately, it's the temple, it's the design of God. Of course, the first one was destroyed. They rebuilt it. It's been hundreds of years they've been meeting in this. Okay, so Jesus is there. He's talking with them, and he's saying, I am statements. He says, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness. And the Jews start questioning. It's funny because Moses questioned, right? He says, who am I? In this story, the Jews say, hey, who are you that you are bearing witness about yourself? Who are you that you're able to say these things about yourself? We need the testimony of two witnesses, right? And then Jesus goes on to say, hey, my Father is testifying about me. He goes on to question who they are even. Just like Moses questioned who he was, and God gave him the statements, I made your mouth. So in this kind of funny twist, these people are saying, hey, we know who we are. We're children of Abraham. We don't know who you are. You say you're the light of the world. You're testifying these things about yourself. We don't know if we can trust you. And Jesus says, you know what? If you knew me, if you knew my Father, you wouldn't be doing these works. You wouldn't be trying to kill the man who's telling you the truth from God. You're of your father, the devil. Man, in the temple, in front of this group of the Jewish people who are claiming to be children of Abraham, they know who they are. Jesus is saying, you're children of the devil. You were trying to kill me, a man sent from God. So at the culmination of this confrontation, they're saying, we can't trust you. Jesus is saying, if you abide in my word, you won't see death. And they say, okay, how can we even believe this? Jesus takes it to the extreme. He says, you know what? Abraham rejoiced to see my day. He saw it and was glad. Before Abraham was born, I am. So Jesus ascribes the I am statement to himself. And it's funny because when Moses took this to the people, this was kind of a new thing, right? Like, they hadn't heard this name of God before. Jesus is saying, before Abraham, that's before the time of Moses, that's before the time in Egypt, that's before the whole thing happened. He says, I existed before all that. You're standing on holy ground. The very one that Moses was talking with, you're speaking with him right now. So, in a funny way, we're standing on holy ground right now. Jesus has ascended into heaven. He fills earth with himself. His Spirit has spread out into the people through the church. And there's a solid chance that you've had God speaking to you in some powerful ways this week. in a way, you're standing on holy ground. You're one-on-one with the author of creation in your home, in your car. And the question that you can ask is, number one, okay, who is he and who am I? That's the second question. Who is this that is reaching to me? Who is God truly? Who is this I am that is meeting me in my life, in my situation? And what does he say about me? Am I a child of the devil? Am I not honoring him for who he truly is? You have a choice to make. You have the choice to say, I will honor God, I will believe in the Son, I will put my faith in him. And this week I would encourage you to do it. I would encourage you to put your faith in Jesus, in who he truly is. Not who people say who he is, not who you might look up on the internet, not who Hollywood says he is. Who does Jesus say he is? He's the one who existed at the beginning. He's the one who exists now. He's the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end. He's God Almighty. Let's put our faith in him this week.